Today in Outer City Hall, we are discussing an important topic, how the city really runs. This is Lucian Godfrey and I am your host, and today I am joined by 3 residents as well as Mayoral Candidate for the Patriotic Alliance. So on my far left we have
Michelle David. I'm from Ward 9, that's Westring, Framesby, Linton Grange.
and my immediate right we have
Ryan Zaleski from Ward 51 in Newton.
And as you know, by now, Patriotic Alliance, Mayoral Candidate for 2026, ons kom slag hulle, Bradley Murray.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking here is Neville Khagda, all the way from PE, from Ward 25.
Thank you everyone for being here, and we're going to break this episode up into 4 segments. So first we'll be tackling how budgets are made, why service delivery collapses, thirdly a role of council and administration, and why good plans fail. If you become the mayor, the city's problem is no more the city's problem, it becomes your problem. And at this point of time, the city is sitting almost 3 to 7 days without electricity and water. What's the first thing in the city budget you change, and what would you cut to pay for it?
I think that's where the discussion comes in. I think it's, let us hear from the community what they need. You see, what every politician does, they come into office, they've got their idea, they've got their dreams, but they normally neglect what the residents want. And that's why we have the residents here today. It's easy to say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. You see, all the politicians does it. They've got their wish list, they've got all these pointers, this is what we're going to do. And for us as politicians, when we read that, we start laughing because things doesn't work the way they put it. There are new parties that's going to start, they're going to come and promise the world, but simply they don't understand how government works. Yeah. So to answer that question, we need to look at what the residents want. So the residents need to tell us what do they want.
If I can interject there, if we look at tracking, when you log an incident, for instance, your water leaks, we want to find out, this is my reference number, this is how long it's going to take it, this is when it's going to be sorted. Sometimes you log this case in and you don't hear anything from the municipality at all. Then you need to push your councillor, you need to push those people. Then to find out after 5 or 6 days, then only your thing is resolved. So we need tracking from day one to know how long it's going to take. If you will be able to do it.
This guy needs to be in government, right? If you remember a few episodes ago, we spoke about people that's got the qualifications, they've got the know-how, they've got the experience, but on the corporate world. And those people are too afraid to jump into the political scene, right? Because they feel that's not for us. But it's the same people as electricity has been off for 6 days. That's politics. The water was off for 6 days. It's politics. So we need those guys to step in and bring the solutions. The tracking problem is a genuine problem, right? There we need an overall. That system is probably older than what all of us here are combined. How to track those things. Yes, they built an app, but the app is just there to give you a reference number. What's happening behind the scenes of the app? And that's where we need to go a little bit deeper.
Ryan mentioned the fact that how long it will take. I think you slipped that in intentionally because you can basically wait forever. So the community, they are being made believe that they will basically be prioritized when it comes to the budget. But is it actually practical, or is the public participation real, or is it just a formality, something that they say?
IDP. Are you guys familiar with IDP? Have you been to an IDP meeting? What's your experience of an IDP?
It's a joke. Because the people that are supposed to be there to take accountability for their portfolio, they don't do it. They just don't do it. They tell you straight, send us an email. But they are there right then and there. So why can they not give us answers? But they don't. Yeah. They don't.
So
we
that
don't get
frustration-
any joy from those people that are there. And that is right across the board. From your human settlements to your mayor itself. Nobody takes accountability. They pass the buck.
Yeah. So that is a frustration that's coming from the ground. And IDP it's called integrated development plan. So a budget cannot exist without an IDP, because a budget needs to deliver what was resolved in an IDP meeting, right? So an IDP meeting, in its how it should work, is the ward. You mentioned you are from Ward 9. Ward 9, that is Westering area. So Westering area, the communities will go to a place where all the officials will come to. And they will say, we need parks cleaned, we need grass cut, we need drains cleaned, we need parks built, we need this. That is their wish list as residents, right? Remember, they are the ones paying rates and taxes. They are the one that's paying the city to deliver. So they will air what they want. But the problem is, it stops right there. She's correct in what she's saying. I've chaired many of those meetings, and multiple times there's no ED, there's no director, there's no high-level official in that meeting that can give you a concrete answer to what the residents want. So I think if we were to come in, let us start there. I think you can hold me accountable with IDP meetings. That I can make that promise, because I love to engage. Let us meet each other in that meetings as a mayor. If the mayor can't sit there, he's not you don't give him his vote. Don't vote for me if I can't get my after end to the IDP meetings, right? Because that is where the budget starts. So I think for me, a simple thing would be to attend as a mayor, to attend IDP meetings.
Okay, hold it just there, Mr. Bradley. Now, can you please tell me how practical is that?
To attend meetings. So, to answer that question, it might come from a background where people never attended these meetings in your areas, right? And it's an unfortunate part. But that's why people keep on voting for the same people and you get the same results. That's insane. I'm not saying you are insane. Okay. But IDP meetings are normally scheduled on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, afternoon, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. It's 100% practical for a mayor to go sit in a meeting. But you know what is more practical? What will that even achieve? The only time when that is not possible is if two meetings are on the same time, on the same date. So both are on Thursday, 5 o'clock. You can be one place. But this is the power that the mayor has, that all our mayors so far has not used. Everybody reports to you. The city manager, all the directors, and all the political appointees, which is MMCs. Sure. So if a mayor is sitting in a meeting, you will find every single responsible person in that meeting that can give answers to the residents in the
But that is sorry to cut you. Is it not mandatory for the mayor to be at every meeting, at every IDP meeting?
So IDP is a process, it's an administrative process. Normally they'll send administrators. Okay. Lazy politicians.
They don't give us answers.
They don't even send officials. They'll send the lowest of the lowest official that can't give answers. Must remember, somebody that is working in the department at the lowest level, they are not allowed to engage you on certain topics. It's above their pay grade.
But then they're useless to us.
But they are sending them in the meantime. I agree with you. They are intentionally useless.
Before we hop off this topic, as we need to get to why service delivery collapses, but before we go there, can you share with us what your opinion is on should politicians actually be allowed to have influences to the budget when it comes to departments, or should that be for professionals?
So there's a twofold to this answer. Remember now, the city is split in the middle. One is administrators. That's where your where your EDs and stuff sit. Your EDs are responsible for budgeting their departments, right? But remember, your ED did not get the vote from the people. So if Neville's area gave us a mandate to fix other roads, but the ED's budget doesn't speak to Neville's area's demands, that's where the politicians come in. They will say, how fast meneer, jy kan nie alles na die lanis toe vat nie. Hier's mense wat 10 jaar laas strate gekry het. They voted for us. And that's where politicians come in to make sure that the areas that is the most vulnerable finds expression in the budgets. You'll get EDs wat net hulle eie areas gaan budget gee al die tyd. And that's government. It's how it works inside. But you need a firm leader to make sure you can control that.
You keep referencing ED, but remember our viewers and why this channel exists. It's to educate our viewers on what it is. So can you?
So an ED is a short for executive director, right? The executive director is the highest level of administration. The only one person above them is the city manager. All executive directors report to the city manager. The city manager reports to the mayor.
So let's get to service delivery and why it collapses. So every time someone new comes in or elections happen, we are getting made promises, but it doesn't get better. It actually gets worse. And we are scared this is going to just be something that continues. Yeah.
Is there a question?
Then I'll ask the
That's a
question.
statement. It actually
I
keeps
agree.
getting,
I
worse.
agree with the statement. I agree with the statement.
My question is, how are you going to be different, Bradley, to all the other mayors that we've had? How are you going to change it? How are you going to implement and make sure that you do for the community, like you say?
So if I tell you now, I make you a promise, will you believe me?
Well, I'm going to hold you
It will
to
be
that
It will be a
promise.
promise like any other
We're going to
mayor.
hold you to it.
So here's the thing.
I'm sorry, just to add on what our lady has said, based on the promises, because bear in mind, we come from a background where these promises were made and they were never delivered. So mentally we were abused. And for the next person to just come up and promise us something would be very difficult. What will make you, what will you show us that we can put faith in you?
So you see, one thing you must understand about the PA, and you can go back 10 years of elections in Nelson Mandela Bay alone. We don't make promises. We've never made any promises. And we are not going to start making promises, right? Let me explain to you this. So Neville has raised it. Michelle has raised it. People are making promises. You've also alluded to it. People are making promises, and after elections, they can't deliver. Why is that? Because it's not practical to make a promise. Nobody is a fortune teller to say this is how the election is going to play out. Remember, there are parties that are just starting now. They launched a new party. There will probably be 8 more parties before we get to elections. Each one will come and make a promise. Now, let's say you start your own party, right? Your neighbor will vote for you, your mother will vote for you, your father will, your family, you will get votes, right? But you don't get in, you don't get a seat. That promises was wasted. It was a vote wasted because you can't deliver on those promises because you don't have the power. So the PA has never been a party that makes promises, right? We've always been a party that said, look, this is what we would like to do when we have power. When we have power. And I think we need to understand the difference. Any party that's campaigning for a coalition is not entitled to make any promises. Only a party that's pushing for a full majority can make a promise.
So when it comes to service delivery, what's our problem? Is it money, corruption, or is the lack of skill?
I
think it's a whole
yeah, now I agree.
and especially when it's the wrong person that's entitled to that.
They put in the wrong people in the job.
I mean, if you can take your problem, put in the wrong person's hands, definitely the whole thing won't happen. It wouldn't be delivered unless, in my opinion, it would be first. Let's say, for example, the councillor. If the council is responsible, and then he should put it in a responsible municipality person's hands, and then I think it's a chain it's a chain deal that needs to be connected for everything to be delivered. Yeah.
So service delivery is normally, most of the 100% of the time, it's linked to budget. And budget is linked to contracts, valid contracts, tenders. You get triannual tenders where a contractor is tied to the municipality for a certain tender. Now, where service delivery collapses in this city most of the time is that contracts expire without a new contract being put in place. Like, for example, right now, the sewage contract has expired. If your drain is blocked, sewage drain, they have to do a deviation. They have to do paperwork to tell somebody, gaan doen gou die job, go do the job, because there is no contractor. I think that is one of the biggest problems. The second thing is there's the skills. There's a big deficit of skills in the city. We don't have engineers anymore. Electrical, roads, what do you call it? INE, which is a storage. These guys is left this institution, but they've never been replaced, even though there's money to replace them, and that causes a
That's
backlog.
about all the time that we have for that topic.
Can
But
I just ask one thing? Sorry. Just on what Bradley has said now, okay? My question is, years ago, the municipality used to have their own people. They never subcontracted anything for millions and millions of rands. Why can they not talk? Why can you not think about bringing that back into the municipality where you have your skilled people in every department that do the job and stop subcontracting to people that don't deliver?
I agree with you on that one. That is something that we have to do. It's something in one of the episodes we have broadly explained how we will bring in the skills into the city.
so, as we step off that topic, we just want to hear where your focus is. Would you rather prioritize new projects or fix the current infrastructure that we have? Because oftentimes politicians, they focus on new projects because they want to be seen. But fixing something that's not working, they're not going to get credit for it because...
Follow the PA 2023-24 Roads and Transport. I was the MMC of Roads and Transport. So I was a political head, right? The one thing that was broken in that department, there was many things broken, but the one thing that residents suffered, especially old people, including my mother, I was geskel. I was 2 days in a position and my mother scaled me. So he said, hey, wanneer ry die busse?
Yes, sir.
And that is one thing that we tackled and we hammered in it. I got death threats. I had a bullet in an envelope with my surname on it, put under my door, because there are certain elements in that department with the buses and the contracts that didn't want us to fix it because the money was too good. So that one, to answer it, even though our president says we will first fix the broken pools before we build new pools, and that's the culture in the PA.
So many people think that the mayor runs the city like a CEO. However, what can the mayor actually control and what can't they?
All right. So there is a big difference between the corporate and the public, right? Public, we are governed by Municipal Structures Act. We are covered by Municipal Finance Management Act. So these are things that tells us how do we run with finances and how do we run with making decisions. So the city is split in two. There's the political side and then there's the administrative side, right? And the two in sync work together. So a mayor and a city manager will work together. A city manager is in charge of all the EDs, the executive directors, the senior directors, the directors. They all report to the city manager. And in turn, the city manager reports to the mayor and the mayor reports to council. Now, council is the highest decision-making body in the metro, right? So I'll make you an example. Let's say for some reason there was a road, a pipe burst, and the whole road lifted up. There is no budget for that road, right? A city manager will speak to the ED will say, I don't have money, right? And the ED would be comfortable saying, I don't have money because he's in his administrative job. It's a 9 to 5 for him. He's got no worries. Nobody's calling him when the house is flooded. So now a mayor will come in and say, city manager, I don't care what your ED say. This road must be fixed. These people must be sorted out. So that city manager that reports to the mayor, he or she will have to find money very quickly. The CFO will have to come. All the role players will have to come. And they will need to find a solution by one word, instruction from the mayor.
But I have a question. Is that money not going to come from other budgets that need it? Whether it be lights, whether it be transport, or whatever the case may be.
That's a good question. So every ward has got a budget. So every ward where you live, there's a budget. But then there's something we call Ward 99. Ward 99 is no 99 wards here. We only have 60 wards. But in the budget terms, the CFO makes provision for Ward 99. Now, Ward 99 is where money comes from, where emergencies must be dealt with. Where, let's say, there's a project, I'll call the Dike project, Shorterville. That project started, the money ran out, as jy genoeg geld nie. Right, the contractor, there's no, the geld is klaar. So now Ward 99 kicks in. The city can't leave the project like that. Otherwise, it becomes a white elephant. It becomes vandalized, right? The city comes in. The mayor will make an instruction. Let's find money for this. The city manager, alongside with the CFO, will go to Ward 99 and say, we need 10 million more. Let's finish the project. So the mayor and all other councillors, they need to look after the interests of the people. The city manager and the officials, they look after the interests of the institution. They make sure we are covering right, we are spending right. There's no unauthorized expenditures. Alles word reg gedoen. So it's a big job. It's not an easy job. And people will gun you every day if something goes wrong. So that's the difference between the two.
I'm sorry, man, just to interrupt you. Just wanted to ask, based on the emergencies, when you say emergencies, what do you talk about? Because when we talk about building infrastructure, talking about fixing the road, how do we get to say, you know what, okay, we this is our emergency. This is the reason why we can go to Ward 99 and use that money for whatever reason or whatever emergency that would be taking place.
So anything that has not been budgeted for can come out of Ward 99.
I have a question. When there were floods, and Utnek was flooded, there was no money. So why did they not then go to the Ward 99?
So we have to look at.
Is the money there is the question.
So you have to look at totals. Ward 99 might have 10 million or 20 million. The floods cost well over, I was the MMC at the time. The one bridge.
And who all has access to Ward 99?
Everybody's got access. Ward 99 is for the city, right? But let's go back to the thing. When that floods happened, the one bridge alone was 225 million rand damage, right? That is where provincial and national government comes in, right? So the second bridge I'll give you now was 53 million. So that budget is not there. Do you understand? So remember I said there's the Municipal Structures Act and the Municipal Finance Management Act that governs us on how to spend. Yes, normally residents will feel, I want this thing fixed now, and there's no money. Or it can't be fixed now. The city manager will need to do deviations. But that's where the mayoral committee and the mayor comes in. Whoever is the MMC must bring those things up because ultimately it affects the people. And if there's money, they need to find the money and they need to fix it. Utnek was a case that we could have handled better, right? It was one of the things that the city didn't budget for. And that's the unfortunate part. Nobody budgets for 500, 600 million rand damage in one day. So I just wanted to give that part.
But because annually we hear that hundreds of millions of rands get sent back to Treasury, right? Why can't we deviate that funds into the Ward 99 and then from there onwards we use it for, okay.
So, yeah, that's a good question. That thing comes up every day. And the Blue Party, if the Blue Party is not in government, that is their cause. They love to say so much millions is going back, so much millions is going back. I would say the same if I'm running for mayor and I wanted to gun whoever's in power. Now the ANC is in power. I would say the same, but I know it's a lie, right? So I'm not going to base our campaign on a lie because those monies that's being sent away, those are grant funding. Grant funding is something you get from National Treasury, right? Grant funding, let's say National Treasury say, guys, we'll give you 30 rand to go buy this cup, right? That money can only buy this cup. It can't be deviated to buy that cup or that cup. If for whatever reason the city is not able to buy this cup during that 12 months, maybe it might be for lack of contract, it might be for expired contracts, it might be that the supply chain processes take so long. This money must go back. You can't use it to do anything else. Now, most people, if they campaign, they would want to use that as leverage. They will want to say, the ANC is losing 10 million, 50 million, 100 million, right? Because they want to score brownie points. But when they are in that seat, the same thing will happen to them. So it's no use lying now during a campaign to get the vote, knowing full well the same thing might happen to you, if you understand. So grant funding is something you can't deviate.
Okay. The last one before you go there. Now you said when it comes to the Ward 99 and based on it's for the emergency. Now I just wanted to ask because we do experience this all the time. For example, we have the road that's been done and people need to now reroute, take another way because the road has been done, and then and then the case happens that it's an emergency, that the budget is finished. Now bear in mind, rerouting for people will have to cause them to wake up earlier, having more petrol, and it costs them. What's the process of getting, and how long does it take to get hold or to get the Ward 99 money to be used to continue with the emergency?
I don't. The question is a bit vague. It's a little bit vague, but I'm gonna try and latch onto a contract. If somebody's building a road, there's budget for that road to start and finish. So they would never be needed for emergency. It's not an emergency. It's just a normal process of building that road.
What you say now, right? I agree with you. So what happened to the dike? Our officials must give answer to that because a contract was also given.
Yes.
Money was given to a contractor, and that contractor said, he said it's going to cost so much. Then what did that contractor do? He obviously went over budget or put the money in his pocket and he disappeared. And now the dike is sitting there not finished.
So the dike,
So
I would
what
be
are you
biased.
going to do?
I will be biased because I know the full story of the dike.
Okay,
I
but
know exactly
we
what's
don't
happening.
want money to be wasted like that.
So I will be biased if I give you a direct answer, but I understand what you're saying and I agree with you. Officials needs to be held accountable, right? And it's the job of the city manager to make that happen, right? In the city, there's still a lot of friends, chommies, met mekaar. That needs to stop. So when you become a mayor, you need to look at where are the problems, where are the bottlenecks, who's causing that bottlenecks, and you need to release those people from their contracts. Fire them. Simple as that. Do you understand? The dike is one example, and I think that's what you meant in that thing. You need to start fire people. We are not here to like people, or people mustn't like us. We're here to do a job.
If you were in a private institution and you had to do something like that, you would get fired.
You will get fired
So
immediately.
why are the municipal workers not getting fired?
That is where cadre or comrade deployment comes in. My sister's child needs a job, my dad needs a job, and people are just filled with.
And people that have got the skills are not getting the jobs.
No, I agree
And the
with you.
youngsters are not getting the jobs.
think you and
Why?
me-
Because they don't have
You must
experience.
run.
Am I
I
right?
think,
They
I
don't
think she
have
must
experience.
run alongside me for my year. They are represented well. Bakas faram yo.
Final topic is why good plans fail. Probably have good plans as well, but why do they fail?
Yeah, just see, that one is a vervloeket. But it's a true reality in Nelson Mandela Bay. Everybody, I believe, everybody starts with good intentions, right? You come with a plan. Maybe your plan is a little bit out because you don't understand how things work. You might come and say, "Morgen gaan ons die ding doen." Then the supply chain process or the MFMA say, "You, this is not morgen's thing. This will take 6 months," right? So where it comes in is people. People come in, they got the vote, now the true intentions comes out, right? Now that thing is no more important. That thing is no more priority number one, like you said. So you had the plans, but now the plans deviate. And that thing is common when it comes to coalitions. Because in a coalition, you don't have your own say alone. You have to sit in a caucus and talk to the people that you are in a coalition with, and you need to find one another. Bearing in mind, These are parties with total different ideologies. They believe what they believe. Some they believe, we don't believe by far. So that might be one reason. I think the biggest thing is when people go in, they forget what they've promised. They forget what they've set out to do. And some might not have the balls to deliver on their own promise because they might find this thing is too hard. I'm going to have to tackle 3 or 4 departments and I'll have to fire people through the city manager. And for that reason, they say, no, we can't. You understand?
Mr. Murray, if your party members block a good plan that will benefit this city for political reasons, would you fight them?
Look, we were in coalitions before, right? And we had views. What we do is a caucus. Every time there's a council meeting, we caucus. All the patriots, all our leadership are there. We sit item per item. We'll agree, we'll disagree on certain items. And there are times when the caucus feels, no, we need to go left. And as a councillor, you need to really take a stand and say, no, but guys, this will affect there. So there's a lot of schooling in between. So in 2024, we disagreed heavily. I was the MMC, we had another MMC, Councillor Schilling. We disagreed heavily with our coalition partners. And in that, us having positions, other people were employed, earning a salary. And we took a decision, while the rest of the patriots might have felt, no, we can't do this. We took a decision alongside our president and we said, look guys, we're going to exit this coalition. My salary was close to 100,000. Shillings was close to 100,000. We're going to take a 50% knock in our salary, but we can't, based on principle, stay in this relationship. Yes, our patriots was upset because they lose a salary. We cut our salary. But at the end of the day, principle takes precedence over our pockets.
Things are definitely getting hot here, so let's take a small break, and when we come back, we will go deeper into more of our questions. Welcome back. This is Lucian Godfrey, your host for Road to City Hall, and today, as we are discussing how this city really runs. Ryan, any questions?
Okay, so earlier we alluded to the fact, and you asked the question is, how do good plans or why do good plans fail? So I just want to divert the question to the mayoral candidate. What is your perspective? Why won't your plans fail? If I can ask you that.
So I'm not saying my plans can't fail. Remember, my plans is my aspirations for our city, right? On behalf of the PA. But I still need the cooperation of an administration on that side. So I need to take the plan. I need to bring the city manager in. I need to sell the plan to the city manager. The city manager might come up and say, but we can't do this, or we can do this, but only at the next financial year, right? So sometimes you get budgets that's tied up for 3 years. And you might find that your plan can't work now because those budgets are tied up in the long term. So there's no plan that cannot fail. But I think if you have the right support, which we have in the PA, our patriots, when we go in, we'll have enough councillors with enough numbers to change policy, to make policy, and that you do by a vote, right? So when we get our plan inside, we bring the item, we write the item, we approve the item as council. Like we said earlier, council is the highest decision-making body in the metro. Whatever they decide goes, right? So I'm not sure if it covers some of it.
Bradley, can I just get in there? What you
No,
say
you know,
now?
when you start with my
No.
name so loud and skrikig sommer. Guys, Westering has been warm today.
When you say the councillors have so much say, yet there are councillors, without mentioning names, that know nothing, that do nothing, that don't take responsibility for anything. Ward 9 councillor does do nothing for us. He does nothing. And when we bring him to a meeting, he says there's no budget for it. He never shows us the budget. He's never clear on what we have to spend or where it's been spending. But yet you saying that they've got so much say. En ek praat nie van hy keer wat hy haar ingaan met hout. Hy wil hout hê.
I know exactly who your councillor is. I know your councillor was elected in a by-election, right? After 2024, when the 2024 elections was done, the previous councillor went to Pishu, right? He took up the MPL seat in legislature. Your councillor you have now, I know how that story came. There I know who his friend is. His friend is running against me for the mayoral seat. And I know what his friend told him when he became a councillor. This is not a full-time job. That is what was said. So technically speaking, you don't have a full-time councillor.
We don't have a councillor.
But he gets full-time pay.
Exactly, that is
He
what
gets
our argument
51,000
is.
rand a month. And he can't produce you a budget. In the
He
PA,
doesn't even have black bin bags for us in his office.
go throw the rubbish by his office. Simple.
I'm sorry, this is very interesting. I just want to, because I mean, we are here to educate the other people that is watching this now. I mean, if there's a budget and he's supposed to do a specific thing, and then he comes to us and tell us there's no budget, where then, after that, what do we do? How do we make sure that what is telling us is accurate or it's not lies?
So you guys anybody is free to enter into a council meeting and sit there and listen. Where budgets and decisions are made, where budgets are tabled and budgets are approved, you can actually sit there. Those meetings are also recorded or live on Facebook. So you can actually see what your ward is getting, right? But if you have a councillor that doesn't disclose any of that, you can report him by the speaker. The speaker can take it up with the MEC. The MEC can say, but you are not fulfilling your oath as a councillor, therefore I can remove you as a councillor, and that ward goes up for a by-election. So there are remedies to take.
Before the election start.
I think we will win Westering if after this interview. If you are happy, let's do that.
I think education is key because we don't know these procedures as the people on the ground.
Yeah.
So this podcast actually teaches us and educates us. Yeah. So I'm strong now. I can go to my ward councillor and tell him, if you do not do this, that and that, I will go to the speaker. I will report you. No violence.
Disclaimer. Did it come from this group?
Yeah.
So I think on that one, what you will find interesting about the PA, there's no politicians in the PA. Everybody that's there, that's standing as a councillor candidate, that's standing as anything, they've never been in politics. They're just normal people trying to make a difference in the community. That's the difference between the ANC, DA, and the PA, EFF. ANC has got people that they know already. I'm from school, I'm going politics. After matric, he knows already my career is politics. It's in the culture. The DA, the same thing. I know I'm going through politics. Because one term is 5 years. If you serve 4 terms, it's 20 years, Masakin. You are a career politician. Now in the PA, we have people that's currently working at ShopRite, that's working at GM. It's currently lawyers. They are not doctors like, what do you call the assistants in the medical field. But they are standing for councillor candidates because their areas needs a change, right? And that's a nice thing about the PA. Yeah, I hope you're going to vote the PA. I hope I've sold the PA enough.
Don't promise us too much.
No promises at all. No promises at all, guys.
Everyone, thank you so much for taking out the time to be here. We do appreciate your presence and your inputs. And thank you so much for tuning in.